Okay, so we're sitting here in the new Toyota GR86. We're just going to do a short driving video because I want to talk about what this car is like to drive. So in terms of power and engines and all that kind of stuff, we have a 2.4 naturally aspirated Boxster engine, just over 170 kilowatts. This is the 6-speed manual, which is lovely, very, very nice. It's good to remember that this car only weighs like 1,280 kilos or something like that, whereas, for example, a Golf 8 GTI weighs over 1,500. So it is fairly light, it's rear-wheel drive, it's very engaging, and it's a very analog experience. So let's go for a drive, let's talk about it. So the first thing you'll find with this car is there isn't much power in the lower end of the gears. The car doesn't make much torque at all, and that's obviously because it's naturally aspirated, so there's no turbocharger to force any air in low down. But what it does do is it allows for a lovely linear power curve, where all of the power comes in at the higher RPM range at like 5, 6, 7,000 RPM. The red line is at 7.5, so you have a lot of power band to play with on the up end, and I really like it because it makes for such a kind of lovely natural driving experience, because when you really want to hunt it, you have to hunt it. I love, so this 6-speed gearbox has got some kind of short shifter system, so the gear changes are short, precise and sharp. And then the clutch as well, it's got one of those kind of paddle clutch systems which it's only really ever on or off. There's kind of hardly any in between, which can make them difficult to drive on an everyday basis, especially when you're kind of pulling off out of places and all that kind of stuff, because there's no real bite point. It's like no clutch. It's like off, on. What I really mean by that is it's either disengaged or engaged. And that's a bit of an exaggeration. Obviously, there's a little bit of leeway there, but not as a normal clutch you would find in a car. So what this gearbox and clutch combination allows you to do is to shift gears very quickly. So first to second is always going to be a little bit slower, but then you're on it, in track mode, and then you can just bang it into third. So nice, it's really, 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 really wonderful. And then fifth. It's so engaging to drive, and I can imagine that this car in the automatic variant probably isn't anywhere as near as engaging to drive. I think this gearbox really, really makes a difference because you don't have a boatload of power, which means you're not going to really, really get a massive thrill from just straight line pull-offs, all that kind of stuff. It does handle phenomenally well, but the combination of the nimble steering, the manual gearbox, the very positive clutch, the rear-wheel drive, it's just a really, really, really good basic analog sports car, and it kind of brings back the joy of driving. You can go and take any kind of performance dual clutch sports car out, and you can have fun, and it'll go 0 to 100 in stupid amount of times, but you're just putting your foot to the floor. You're not really enjoying it, engaging it. You're not learning, you're not getting gear shifts wrong, and all that kind of stuff, which what happens in these kind of cars when you drive them, you don't always get it right every time, which makes for a better driving experience. This long pull now here, it's wonderful. For 170 kilowatts, when you start really getting up the rev range, this car is really quick, it's really nimble. 0 to 100 is like over 6 seconds, which isn't anything crazy, but the in-gear power is really, it's really, I'm going to say phenomenal, but it's very nice, it's great fun. Just throw the heel there, just throw it in here. to talk about is the pricing. I mean, this car is just over 800k. The pricing is different depending on manual or automatic, but it's around 800 grand, maybe a little bit more. So if you're looking for kind of a sports car, maybe it's a second car, maybe it's just you just want a sports car, like, you're gonna get so much car for the money with this Toyota GR86. So much car, and not just so much car. It's more about having so much experience. You're gonna get so much experience with the car. So as I said, for 800 grand, you're gonna get so much fun and enjoyment and experience out of the car, whereas other cars you'll be paying so much more than that. I mean, it's a totally different conversation, but you Golf 8Rs coming in at over 900 grand, and it's boring compared to this. It's absolutely boring. And there are different target markets, and different segments, and this and that, and whatever, but it's boring compared to this. Like, so for the price point, it's a phenomenal sports car.